Emily, what's next?
Next is we're moving on from the insights and we're going to go to a very different topic, but so interesting, AI for better inclusion. So I'm going to introduce our next speaker, and Olivier Oullier, who's had many lives across different continents. So I'm going to focus on what he currently does, and if you're more interested, you can go and check on his biography. So Olivier is currently the CEO of Inclusive Brains, a startup developing multimodal cognitive AI agents. Olivier is also the founder of the Assistive Tech AI for Inclusion Impact Initiative and a professor of behavioral and brain science at Aix-Marseille University. So welcome, Olivier. Olivier will discuss with Eric, who is back, on the importance of leveraging AI and neuroscience to improve workplace inclusion and safety.
Eric couldn't stay away, so we'll hand it back to him and we'll see you after this.
It was impossible for me not to be there at day 2 at the Human Advantage Conference, and I am delighted to have the opportunity of a conversation with my friend Olivier Oullier that Emily has just introduced. So just to summarize, Olivier, you co-founded with your associate, I think Paul Barbat, in 2022, Inclusive Brains, and you are also the chief AI scientist of the biotech dental group, where you head the Institute of Artificial Intelligence.
Indeed.
So I think you are a quite good candidate to talk about neuroscience, brain science, and artificial intelligence.
Hope so, Eric. Hope so.
So I would like to maybe start asking you to briefly describe the mission of Inclusive Brains. We will have time to go into the detail of what you do, but first, what is your mission and what is the expertise you bring to the world?
We want, with Inclusive Brains, we want machines to adapt to their users. We live in a world where when you buy your phone, when you buy your computer, when you buy your car, it's more or less the same product for everyone. But we are so different in our physicality, in the way our brains work, our emotions, that we want to empower machines to sense how we feel and then to kind of tailor the interaction with machines. So we create what is technically called multimodal human-machine interfaces. Multimodal means that we train our AI models with brainwaves, facial expression, eye tracking, prosody, which is the tone of my voice, movements, you'll see I use a lot of my hands, and a lot of this data is feeding our models so that generative artificial intelligence actually, can better understand us, can better assist us, because at the end of the day, we think that technology, whether we're talking about neurotechnology, artificial intelligence, is here to assist people.
Okay, that's a great start. So we need to better understand concretely what does it mean.
Yeah.
Because you use your hand, don't forget that if you have to slide to share, you have the Zappet.
Yes, sir.
It is a typically British name. So you have accomplished a remarkable project, really very, I would say, touching project, enabling people with strong disabilities to do extraordinary things. And I would like to take 2 cases and to give you the opportunity to share these 2 cases. First is you have achieved with a quadriplegic individual to drive a Formula One. Is it magic? Could you tell us more about this?
This is no magic. This is no science fiction. This is just hardcore, rigorous neuroscience in action. And I think this is important to say. The fact that we can better understand what is happening in our brains, our movements, everything I mentioned, is all these channels of information, and we can train our algorithms with them, is to try to a certain extent, for machines to have a functioning that is as close as possible to the human body and the human brain. One case that I would love to talk about, indeed, is my friend Rodrigo Ubna Mendez, who is quadriplegic. He's paralyzed from the neck down. And Rodrigo became the very first person ever to mind control a Formula One car, a real car on a real racetrack.
Mind control. I don't know if you imagine.
So he could accelerate, turn left, turn right, all thanks to the power of a brain-computer interface. So a combination of brain sensors and algorithms, artificial intelligence, that transforms his brainwaves into commands to the car. All of this, of course, thanks to an amazing team, the team at Emotive, the team of Brazilian engineers. It's a huge project, but at the end of the day, it was just, it looks like magic, but once again, this is rigorous science in action. And there is an epilogue to that. A very famous person in Formula One heard about Rodrigo's performance, and Rodrigo and I, a year after his performance, were in Dubai, and we challenged no other than Lewis Hamilton, who, to our surprise,
the world champion,
who was back then only 4-time world champion in Formula One, the legend, and Rodrigo challenged Lewis Hamilton to a mind control race, which once again is amazing. And brings us to a very important part of the work I do with Inclusive Brains, with Biotech Dental, is we do it to bring smiles to people's face. And you guys can see Rodrigo's smile on this picture of him with Lewis, who was a total class act, unsurprisingly, by the way.
Yeah, it's really absolutely impressive. So what I would like now is for you to talk about another extraordinary case, which happened very recently for Paris 2024. You have enabled 2 women to carry the Olympic flame again using thought control, which is absolutely unbelievable. So I think you have image, and maybe you could tell us more about this extraordinary story.
It all started actually with Rodrigo, who mind controlled the Formula One. Rodrigo was selected as an Olympic torchbearer for the 2016 Olympics in Rio. And it was an extraordinary day for Rodrigo, yet he shared with me a bit of frustration because he felt he could have had a more active role in it.
Yeah, maybe you could explain what it was at that time.
For him, basically, he was in a wheelchair that was pushed by someone, and someone put the torch in a gigantic cup holder that you can see on this picture. And it was a fantastic day. I mean, he had a blast. Once again, look at his smile. But I think that part of leveraging technology in order not only to assist, but to help all of us, including people who have motor and or cognitive impairments, is to be able to use artificial intelligence and neurotechnology for good, which is really the mission of my life, what makes me wake up in the morning and go to bed very, very late. The thing is, Rodrigo told me we should think about something that would combine the technology we used for the Formula One for the Olympic Games. And with Paul Barbast, my co-founder, and Rodrigo, we brainstormed, and we started Project Prometheus. Prometheus was just, in a nutshell, to combine, once again, generative artificial intelligence, robotics, and neurotechnologies in order to empower people who cannot do movements to have an active role in the Olympic torch relay at Paris 2024. And for that, I just want to share with you another beautiful smile. The smile of Nathalie and her brother Denis. Nathalie was our Olympic torchbearer in Marseille, France on May 9th, during the first day of a torch. And she's leveraging a technology that we developed at Inclusive Brains that is not just using her brainwaves, because Nathalie has a physical and cognitive impairment. Hence, she could not focus enough just to do mind control of the Olympic torch relay.
So it was a strong challenge for you.
Yeah,
for her, for sure.
For her, of course, but for us to find something to adapt our technology to Natalie, what she could do was two intentional movements. One is to blow a kiss, and another one was to smile. And we adapted our artificial intelligence model so that it could detect her smile with brainwaves, with facial expression, and she could trigger the robotic arm. So literally her smile was at the core of her performance. And we saw, it was such an emotional moment for us. You can see the moment where the torch is passed, and on this video, you can see our technology that is basically identifying her smile and empowering her to control this exoskeleton arm from a French company called Autopus. I have to say that this is a 100% French project we're very proud of. And this is the moment where she's lifting her arm, and then we had thousands of people around us in Marseille. One interesting fact is the person that is pushing her wheelchair is her brother, Denis. Denis has an Asperger's syndrome and can stress a lot during, you know, when he's surrounded by people. So he's wearing earbuds. You can see earbuds that are monitoring his brainwaves, and our algorithm is measuring his stress level during this moment. And when his stress peaked, we could communicate with him and tell him a couple of things to, you know, to distract him. And this is a good example of the same kind of technology, empowering people to control a physical object in a silent, motionless, and touchless way, what people refer to as mind control, but also in order to monitor the stress level, which has tremendous implications when it comes to workplace uses of what we do.
Yeah, we will talk later about this.
And there is another person that carried the torch. His name is Pierre, and that was in Versailles in July. And with Pierre, it was another amazing moment because smiles were everywhere. This is his mom behind him. We monitored the stress of his mom, and she was the coolest person on earth at that moment. A huge crowd right in front of the Château de Versailles. Pierre doesn't have a cognitive impairment that Nathalie has. Hence, Pierre was able also to wave his hand thanks to the mind control, which was amazing, the response of a crowd. A big emotional moment for us, but also something that was a testament for the work and the mission that Paul and I have been sharing since day one. Paul and I, when we met because we're science geeks, we're obsessed with artificial intelligence for good and neurotechnology, but we bonded over our need, not just interest, but a need to use our technology to empower people, whomever they are, regardless of their abilities, physicality, needs, however special this might be, to benefit from our assistive technology. And we think that true inclusion is developing solutions that benefit everybody with zero discrimination whatsoever. People with disabilities and people without disabilities. This is really at the core of what we think and what we're doing on a daily basis.
Yeah, I think I have only one word, bravo. I think the world needs more people like you, and I say this because it is really what I think, and I see a lot of hurts and and the presentation, and I see it reflects what you just said. You also recently made waves, different waves, with a tweet sent by Thought, again, in real time during the United Nations AI for Good Summit with Emmanuel Macron praised. Could you explain a little this?
So Paul and I were invited after what we did with Olympics to speak at the United Nations AI Summit, which is the #1 global summit on presenting solutions that improve people's lives thanks to artificial intelligence. And from the very stage of this event, which was very noisy, there's a little anecdote people don't know. It's right before when we were just setting up, there was a person playing drums just next to us. So in this environment, Paul, wearing a brain sensor headset from Emotive, wrote a tweet and sent it and uploaded a picture of Natalie and her brother, and we sent it to President Macron, who very kindly replied to us and congratulated us for what we have achieved, especially in the context of being a project run by a French company. The important thing here is you got what we can do with people with disability, but this is once again an illustration in an environment that is not a lab environment of the power of human-machine interface, because what Paul used was his brainwaves, but also his movements in order to click, to move, to do a lot of things. So it's the combination of all these modalities that makes our human-machine interfaces unique. This was presented in the global press as a world premiere. It's a world premiere for non-invasive brain technology. Elon Musk and his team had done it before, but after drilling a hole in people's head and implanting electrodes, which is amazing, but it's a totally different kind of performance. And I think that for us, this was a great moment to show that it was not just assistive technology for people with disabilities, but for everyone.
I would like now for you to explain in simple terms, because we are not all neuroscientists and experts also in AI.
Good thing for the world.
Yeah. So could you explain very concretely the technological principle and how it works? Oh, it's a challenge.
It's always a challenge. It's always a challenge.
To be simple and clear. We know this
course.
from Todd Rogers yesterday about communication.
Well, at the end of the day, when you operate your microphone, I operate this remote, there are some decisions that are made in my brain, and then some signals, electric signals, that are sent to my hands to execute the action. Well, thanks to artificial intelligence and the models, we can convert the electric activity of a brain, the movement of my eyes, of my face,
the smile,
the
voice,
the movement of my hands, the tone of a voice, and many things. We can convert them into meaningful information. And this meaningful information is associated, thanks to AI systems, to an action that a connected object can do. If a connected object, whether it's a car, a TV, a computer, can be controlled remotely by an app, we can replace the app and mind control it. It sounds simple.
No.
Action, reaction. It is not that hard to do it on one person, because you work months in tailoring the solution to people. The big challenge is to turn this into a product that could be scaled and that could work with virtually everyone. And it's basically, if we were in fashion, the switch from haute couture to prêt-à-porter, from haute couture to off the shelf. And this is a big challenge. First, because we need to find markets. Is mind control a market? Not really. We can see nice application these days. There is a very famous gamer in the US who used a mental command in order to enhance her performance. That is very promising. We can see applications across many sectors of having an additional command so that you keep your hands, highly skilled or very precise movement. But in itself, mind control is not yet, or controlling things with your mind, is not a business. Controlling minds is a business, but not ours. It's more you. Huh?
Yeah. Great. Olivier, now what is, I think, really important, before we talk about leveraging your knowledge to really increase inclusion and performance at work, and also well-being at work. So I would like to come back to a quite high level and maybe personal question. What led you to become interested in the issue of inclusion, and what you do, why you do what you do?
It's the human advantage. It's a human factor. My two daughters are incredible ballerinas, amongst other things, at the National Ballet. One of her is going to have a great career. The other one has moved to business. What I want to say is that there are no people with physical impairment in my family, but I met extraordinary people along the way, one of which is Rodrigo that I mentioned. Another one is Mark Pollock. And we're going to show you a moment which happened 10 years ago in the basement of UCLA, where my friend Mark Pollock was using an exoskeleton to walk, and I was recording his brain waves. The goal was to understand how the brain of someone who was no longer able to walk because he's paralyzed from the neck down would adapt when helped by an assistive technology that is an exoskeleton, and what we can learn from that. So the very beginning of what we've been doing with Rodrigo, what we've been doing with Mark, started in the basement of UCLA with my dear friend Mark Pollock. This is the beginning. Then there's Rodrigo in the equation. There is also another friend, dear friend of ours, whose name is Brooke Ellison. I'm a bit emotional because Brooke has left us. She passed at the beginning of the year, but it is with Brooke that we started this initiative with the World Economic Forum, the Assistive Tech and AI for Inclusion Impact Initiative. Rodrigo is part of it, Mark Pollock, Tanley, there are so many people. So it takes more than a village to achieve what we've achieved, and this is just amazing to think about it, because these amazing people changed my life personally and professionally. And of course, Paul Barbas, my founder, because when you find a young person that share the same values, it's also a defining moment.
Okay, I think it is quite a nice purpose. Often we talk about mission, purpose, your purpose. The purpose of Inclusive Brain is really impressive, and bravo again. But I would like now to end this conversation. We still have 5 minutes before the question, or 7 minutes before the question. Inclusive Brain doesn't just aim, and it's really already fantastic, people with disabilities in organization. Your solution also help bodied individuals to perform better and to take better care of themselves in organization. So could you explain a little this, which is at the heart of what you do at Inclusive Brains?
Yes. One thing that I would like to share is the fact that, like a lot of startups that develop innovation, we started in research mode, creating these one-off projects. What is important for us is also to be able to industrialize what we do. And a pivotal moment for our startup this year was our partnership with Allianz Trade, a partnership to support the technology, the Prometheus technology, and to be able to industrialize what we do, to move from being a R&D company to really productize what we do. So we provided Prometheus to people in the field for the Olympic Games, but that would not have happened without this partnership with Allianz Trade, to help people with disability in the workplace, but also to apply what we do to improve performance and safety. There is kind of a paradox today. It's almost not politically correct to talk about performance in the workplace. I think that with our technology, we can reconcile the need to improve performance while preserving physical and psychological safety. And this is where we totally align with Allianz Trade. And we got examples that I would love to share with you. We worked with the International Knee and Joint Center in Abu Dhabi with surgeons during surgery, where we monitored the brain activity of several surgeons in order to understand when they are focused, when they are stressed, and to increase their performance. Because just like a lot of workers, there is a lot of burnout among surgeons. fatigue. People do surgery after surgery, and it has impact on
Sure.
themselves, but also on the patient.
For sure.
And the stakes for healthcare delivery are massive.
Okay, great.
So
We
that's
see,
that's one news. You kindly mentioned the work I've been doing with Biotech Dental, leading all the AI there. It's very interesting to see also the needs for AI. I always ask when I talk to a company, a potential client, do you really need AI in order to improve your products, performance of people, etc.? With Biotech Dental, we've been working with people who are actually working on patients on a daily basis, tens of interventions. What you can see here is the monitoring of a patient, monitoring the stress of a patient, because there is ample evidence that if you time your surgical operation at the moment where stress is lower, the outcome is better. That's one application. The second thing is to be able to provide the surgeon, the dental surgeon, with feedback in real time on what is happening stress-wise with a patient. And finally, we are launching the first ever AI assistant fully dedicated to dental healthcare. What is the idea? The idea is during practice or during their everyday work, they can interact with this assistant that is providing answers, that is providing help, but with a twist, because the twist is the module that we're going to add to it from Inclusive Brains that will empower the AI assistants to sense whether the person asking for information is in a rush or is cool. Hence, the answer of a large language model will be adapted to how the person feels. And I think for us, this is key. The last broader example is, for me, the fact that there is not a single organization, public or private, in the world that would not benefit from better understanding the dynamics of stress, attention, and cognitive load of our employees. And I think that, to that extent, it's important to rely on rigorous scientific measures. I'm highly biased as a scientist, as all of us, because I got a firm belief that absence of bias does not exist. So my bias is the fact that it is our duty to provide technology solutions, AI-powered, informed by behavioral insights, that deliver the best outcomes. Replicability is important, rigorous, ethical, that are at the same time improving performance, wellness, and preserving physical and psychological safety. This is the core of what we do. So today, by empowering machines to adapt to people, we are aiming at minimizing stress or helping people manage stress, because stress is not always a negative thing. We also help a lot people adapting their workload to the moment of the day. Because I don't know about you, but I'm not physiologically and sometimes cognitively the same person in the morning and at the end of the day.
I am always the same person.
I know that as a friend. But it's important to rely on things that go beyond the simple fact that people are characterized by HR based on the results of a cognitive and personality test, which at the very best...
talk a little after. So you recently signed an agreement with Allianz, which demonstrates that it is not only, and it's a really fantastic, helping disabled person, but trying really to improve performance and well-being of all of us within an organization. So could you tell us a little about this?
The partnership with Allianz started because we're aligned on helping people with disabilities. The need, it's a group. We had opportunities to partner with other groups that were not aligned with us when it comes to really what needs to be done and how to leverage artificial intelligence in order to improve inclusivity and accessibility in the workplace. That's the starting point. But beyond that, we also converge on the need to leverage AI to preserve physical and mental health, which once again is 100% aligned with our mission. And for us, having such an international group trusting us, supporting us in what we're doing at the moment, it's good for business, let's be honest, but it's also good for the scalability of our products, for testing our products, and to anchor them in the reality of a market, because we are a for-profit organization. One thing that I would never stress enough is the fact that what is referred to as assistive tech in English, also sometimes handy tech, technology that starts or is at the beginning developed to help people with disability, is a massive market. Paul and I, we have a benchmark business-wise, which is this, the remote control. The remote control was invented to help people with disabilities. And then it became a mass product. Billions of people, billions of households bought it, or bought it, a TV set with a remote control. But more importantly, it totally changed the way we as individuals interact with technology. And we think that by empowering machines to interact with people in a very adaptive way, we're also going to change the way people interact with technology in a safer way, again, by improving performance, but by keeping it safe for our health, be it physical and or psychological and mental, for everybody, whether you have a disability or not.
Yeah.
It's true inclusion is for everyone.
Okay, perfect. I have, unfortunately, no time. I have only 8 minutes for my last question, and here there are a lot of
great.
questions from the audience. So 3 last questions for me. So please be short to have time to answer to some of the numerous questions we have from the audience. So my first question, what is your potential for development at Inclusive Brains? What is the future of Inclusive Brain? What you hope?
We hope to be able to have our adaptive technology. See, I'm not talking about AI or neurotech, but adaptive solutions in every connected object. Because every connected object would benefit from adaptive features. We really want people to have seamless interaction with technology, yet for technology to remain an assistive tool and not the other way around. We spend our lives adapting to tools, to technology, etc. So that's one thing that I am. The second thing that I am is that that I really wish is that we stop talking about AI. If I were an architect, we would be talking about the buildings that I create, not so much whether I drew the blueprint on a paper or I used a computer. Methodology is important, and what's more important than technology itself is, be it AI, neurotech, otherwise, is whether it's ethical, whether it's compliant, and whether it has positive impact on people. The outcome has to be positive. As long as those 3 things are marked, responsible, ethical by design, inclusive by design, then the one thing that matters is outcome and what good you do with whatever you create.
Okay. So that's great that you have been very short. Second question about the evolution of neuroscience and AI in the field of human resource. What major change, what hopes you have for, I would say, this area?
For me, it's really the fact that we use more and more rigorous measures in order to help people, and not only some loose methodology based solely on cognitive tests, personality tests that are very easy to use, that are very convenient, but at the end, at best, they provide you a snapshot at a given moment, but people evolve over time. So these adaptive features of technology and for HR is to be able to understand that some people have ups and downs, and it's not a good or a bad thing, it's just a thing. And this thing, if you can measure it in real time, and if you can adapt your workload, the tools, everything that is around, whether we're talking about the physical environment, but also the social environment, add on top of that inclusivity. It's something that will change HR and is already changing HR with some of our partners.
Okay, no, that's great. What would be, we have a lot of HR leader in our
Yes.
audience. What would be your one piece of advice for an HR leader or manager that would like to try to use neuroscience AI in their job?
Two things. First, neuroscience is no longer a matter of big brain scans in hospitals, etc. Now we got portability, we got brain sensors that can be put in earbuds. We can do it in the workplace. So you don't have to be afraid about this science part. The second thing, and it's a plea, please respect the brain. Respect the brain and the body. If we were talking about heart issues, cardiovascular issues, HR experts would refer to cardiologists. They would measure the heart. With a brain, you got a bunch of coaches that are out there that claim that they understand the brain, that rely on questionnaires like, hey, are you tired? Are you stressed? Why do we accept that? Why would you accept if someone would try to understand whether your heart is functioning well or not, if what they would base their judgment on would be just, hey, on a scale from 0 to 10, how clogged are your arteries? How tired is your heart? No one would accept that. So why do we accept these loose measures when it comes, and unscientific when it comes to the brain? So my plea to HR people is keep on using personality tests, cognitive tests, because they provide some kind of information, but it's not enough. Work with us or other people doing what we do in adding and leveraging artificial intelligence in order to better understand your employees and to better serve and assist them. Tailor the solution in HR. It will improve your recruitment, it will improve productivity, and it will minimize your physical and mental health costs. So benefits on all fronts.
Great. It was my last question, but we have a lot and 3 minutes to answer. So short answer, please. You think in the future all this technology could be generalized on the market?
Absolutely. I mean, when I started neuroscience decades ago, it was big brain scanners costing millions, etc. Now we're talking about tech that is less than €100 for some of it, some wearables. And also, we are developing solutions that don't need wearables, that can leverage webcams, the way you type, etc. So yeah, we're at the moment where it's not we're going to scale. We already have products that can be scaled.
Great. Last question and 2 minutes to answer. What motivates companies to fund projects that have a limited customer base, are seldom used, yet require substantial investment?
Two things. It depends on the project. The return on investment on working with us on the inclusive part is improving your workforce, because there is a ton of data that shows that the biggest diversity you can bring on a team, the better the team, productivity, wellness, company culture. That's one thing. The second is we're also here to be quite straightforward about some of the outcomes. The return in terms of image for your company to show that you're not just obsessed with productivity, profit, etc., but you can achieve it by being inclusive. It's great for the image of a company. I'm not shy in sharing this. Some people come to us for what now is called inclusion or inclusivity washing. If it's purely that, we refuse some partnership. But we can help our partners not only to do the right thing behind closed doors, backstage, but also share with the world that, look, this is the proof that the investment is good for the company and good for society.
I think it is a good conclusion. Thanks a lot, Olivier. It was, I hope, and I think, an inspiring conversation. Thanks to be here at the Human Advantage conference and to share those great insights.
Thank you so much for shedding some lights on the work we do. And once again, a great mission, but also a great business.
Thank you.